Hello, everyone. Claire is not here today, so I mean, I could go sicko on the beat right now, but I feel like it would close the opportunity for Claire to ever do that. I would go so hard that if Claire came and tried to do it, it would never, I just would set the bar too high, so I can't freestyle without her. It has to be even always, or it will ruin our friendship most likely. But instead of Claire being here today, we have the lovely, the talented, the wickedly talented Skydoge.
Burke Bark Bjork. Hello, Galapagos.
Halloo,
Thank you for having
Skydoge.
me.
I'm gonna play the clap. Woo! We love you!
Thank you, dear listeners. It is a pleasure to be here with you this evening.
Here
or morning,
and
whenever you're listening.
Here, as in his house, via FaceTime.
Oh, yeah, there's a pandemic, so I haven't left my house in a very long time, and I don't plan to.
Yeah, and I am in my office. I'm FaceTiming Skylar on my new iPad. Ready? iPad. Do you like that?
I did.
Felt magical. So I'm really excited to make a bunch of new art on it. But I could see one of my pieces that I made Skylar in high school hanging behind his head. And there's also another piece I made above his fridge. So
Indeed, one of my favorites. I don't know if you titled it Thug Cynthia or I did, but it depicts the Cynthia doll from Rugrats with a teardrop tattoo, and she is counting money.
Yeah, and a Biggie Smalls sweater. It was an actual, probably exact replica of one that this girl Victoria did in high school, and I was like, that's fucking sick. I want to do something like that too. So I also
and now
made
it's above my fridge.
And now it's above your fridge. But yeah, speaking of high school, that's where our friendship began. We've been friends for a heck of a long time, Mr. Skydoge.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Like,
He was actually just going to tell a story about how we became friends and how it's a pivotal moment of our friendship. And I was like, wait,
yes, I was told to save it for the pod.
I said, save it for the podcast.
Now is now the time. May I?
Yeah, no, it's time.
Okay.
That was
The story has been unembargoed, and I can tell you about how I met Glow. We had honors physics together, and
we were put in a group together.
Yeah, we were split into our lab groups, and it was a group of 3, but it was really you and me.
Let's give our third person a fake name. Richard.
What?
Richard.
Richard?
Yeah, that was the first name.
Yeah, sure. Okay. We were with Richard. And I have no comments on Richard, so I'm going to edit him out. But Richard was there, and that is not his real name. Shout out to Richard if you're listening and have decoded that we're talking about you. But we get split into lab groups. And I knew, right off the bat, that I wanted to hang with Glow. She had this effervescence.
We both decided that Richard was the weakest link.
Yes, and we kind of attacked. We kind of went in, and we bonded over that frenzy, that bloodbath. It was really nice. But I remember you telling me.
My dad calling for me. Hold on. Okay. Oh, I dropped my phone. That happens. Every podcast, my dad or my grandma walks through the door, and I always have to stop it for a second. But as you were saying,
it wouldn't be a podcast without a guest appearance from either John, either rat. You know,
John's such a rat. That's why he always interrupts. But anyways,
you were telling me that day about how, as you were walking into school, you saw friends of yours, seniors, because you're a year older than me, just chugging alcohol before school. And you were like baffled by this idea. And yeah. I too was like, why would you ever want to be drunk at school? Interacting with teachers whilst drunk sounds like a nightmare. But it didn't to Glow. It planted a seed in her brain. It was like Inception. Because towards the end of that year, what did you decide, Glow? What did you need to cross off your bucket list?
I needed to get drunk at school, and that came into fruition by me taking the classic green Gatorade bottle with the orange cap and filling it with a pink lemonade for Loco. And Skylar was like, you want to say that? And I'm like, yes, I do.
We did not consult a lawyer prior to recording this podcast.
So if you're from Norwalk High, no, you're not. And if you could do anything about this story or situation, no, you can't.
And that's facts, because all of it is technically fiction, though I'm not lying to you. So square that circle. But so she shows up, and she's clearly like on some dumb shit that day. And I asked her what she's drinking. Full Nicki Minaj, yes.
Nicki Minaj.
Oh my God, thank you for correcting me.
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj. I got this vibe that you were high as hell, but had only took a half a pill, and that you were on some dumb shit.
Yeah.
But I guess I began asking you what you were drinking, and you acted incredibly suspicious. So I was like, okay, now
lie.
I'm curious.
All of my friends know I'm such a bad liar.
I don't know if I knew that about you, but I certainly learned it that day.
Yeah. Well, we were friends. Were we friends at this point?
Oh yeah, it was the end of the year, so we had definitely become friends by then.
You asked me to prom. So.
You offered me a drink. So I was like, "What is it?" And you said orange juice, and then you offered me a sip, and I took a good swig.
I love that.
And I was on medication that also made me get drunk much quicker. So I wasn't drunk by any means, but
I think
I did feel slightly buzzed.
Yeah.
And then I said, that is not orange juice. And you said, I put cough syrup in it because that is less suspicious.
I think I lied to you because you asked me out loud and we were in Couture's class.
No, yeah, I definitely did not make this discreet.
Yeah, like I think I lied to you because I had to. I couldn't be like, oh, it's for Loco.
But you settled on I'm drinking a mixture of cough syrup and orange juice. I may be like, for the record, you had already been drinking your mixture. So, yeah.
No, I think you asked me because you knew it was alcohol. And
I knew it was not orange juice. That's for goddamn sure. And I had never drank a Four Loko before. It tastes like jet fuel, and I did not enjoy it.
You're not a high schooler until you've had it. Actually, when I moved to Norwalk, I remember they're like, yeah, we used to drink Four Loko in 8th grade. And I was like, 8th grade? I didn't drink until like sophomore year summer.
I'm not even sure I had a Red Bull by 8th grade. Okay, let alone a Four Loko.
Yeah.
I don't like caffeine or alcohol, as it turns out.
Mm-hmm.
But
spoiler alert.
Yeah, that was where our friendship was fostered in the classroom of physics.
It really was, and I feel like Skylar and I were in the front row, and I'm pretty sure we became friends pretty early into it, and I've never talked over someone as hard as I did.
Oh goodness, yes.
In that classroom.
So the seating arrangements were that I was at the end, but in the front row. Mm-hmm. Someone else was in between us, and since we're giving people fake names, her name was Nancy. Nancy sat between us, mm-hmm. and then Glow was on the other side of Nancy, and Glow and I would have full conversation. And sometimes Nancy would try to participate.
Yeah.
And we never begrudged her, but we also never wanted.
We never egged her on.
Yeah, like we were never talking to her.
We were just so in love.
In love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You actually asked me to prom in a really romantic way.
Oh goodness, did I?
Do you know? I mean, of course you know.
Do I know?
Yeah. Tell them.
The amount of planning. We went to see a little film. Wait, what?
When I walked into the classroom that day, you're missing the most romantic part.
I don't think I remember that part. You
Oh,
have to tell
see,
that part.
I walked in physics class and you were a little suspicious, and Claire was also, oh, that's not her. And Nancy,
Claire's your co-host. What are you talking about?
exactly. Nancy was like looking at my desk all weird. And you were like, hey, Glow, like sit down or something. And I sat down and then the ticket was on my desk to 50 Shades of Grey. And you're like, see you tonight at the theater.
That is really romantic.
It was
wow.
so sweet.
I'm a Casanova.
You really are. And then I pulled up to the movie theater and you made me a 50 Shades of Grey themed box.
I did. I believe I showed it to you after the film. We watched the film. I enjoyed it.
You said come to my minivan, and then I closed my eyes and you guys handcuffed me.
Yes, I did do that. There were handcuffs involved. There was a cake cut into a phallic shape.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you made your mom go to Costco and get a surplus of condoms.
No, she had done that of her own accord. She came home one day when we were teenagers and gave Jonah and I each a 36 pack of condoms and was just like, I was at Costco, you're covered. And we did not ask. I don't know what age we were, but we had what we needed was the point. And so I had made a little use of them, and thus they were available for a wildly romantic promposal. So I had the condoms, and I wrote one letter on each condom. Prom.
I hung it in my bathroom for years.
She did, and she said yes.
I did,
and she was one of the 2 women I brought to that prom.
That's so true. I dipped his bow tie because the other girl was wearing white and I was wearing blue. So half his tie was blue and half of his tie was white. And he walked in with both of us on his arm. Honestly,
and I had a top hat and a cane with like
a little diamond.
A little diamond.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that
it was.
That deserves.
Thank you. It was probably where I peaked. But I don't even know if I was out of the closet at that point. So I think I was.
I didn't know you were gay.
But then I came out as gay.
Remember?
Oh, maybe you didn't know.
No, I knew by prom.
Oh, okay.
But like when I originally met you
off guard.
When I originally met you, I had no idea you were gay.
I find that very amusing.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's obvious.
Yeah, I had no clue. I remember I told you, one of my friends was like, yo, you didn't know? And I was like, no, because he didn't tell me. Like, what do you mean?
And that's so interesting, especially considering the news of JoJo Siwa.
Yeah, I said.
Flo and I had a rigorous debate last night about whether or not
JoJo Siwa came out as gay. Did you see the TikTok? I have a live studio audience member with me.
We do.
And she saw the TikTok. Do you think JoJo Siwa is gay based off that TikTok?
I think she's definitely queer, maybe bi. I don't know if she's all the way gay.
What percentage gay?
Over 50.
Okay. Over 50. Yeah, Skylar says there was no caption, but she was wearing a white bow with rainbows.
For the listeners, yeah, it was a TikTok. She had rainbow lights going, and she was lip syncing "Born This Way" by Lady Gaga. No part of the video included the words "I'm gay" or "I'm bi" or any words at all besides those of Lady Gaga.
James Charles commented like, "Oh my gosh!" Like everyone in the comment section was like, "Congrats!"
What is James Charles an authority on? And what is the comment section in the internet an authority on? None of.
Yeah.
My only point was like she may well have come out, or she may well just be queer baiting because pop stars are doing that for money.
JoJo Siwa is a child entertainer though. That sounds weird.
Yeah, but like pandering to gays is like a big part of the economic model of like everything.
That's true. I've been on the internet during Pride Month.
You need to calm down. I mean, come on. She wrote a song just for us.
That's true.
Taylor Swift, thank you. You did
we weren't talking about Taylor Swift. But are you trying to segue into her? Because I just pictured you on a Segway.
running
running
over
it.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, we would never do that to you. I actually,
No, I'm like a
I
low
like,
key Swiftie.
we watched The Reputation on Netflix together.
Yeah, on Super Bowl. I was gonna say Thursday. That's not correct, and that
Instead of
shows
this,
why we watched it.
we watched the night of the Super Bowl, we watched Reputation.
I was caught off guard. Okay, I had not listened to the album.
You had a good time. I did too.
I had way better a time than I thought I would. My favorite part
I
is
remember you
when
being shocked.
they lifted her up and she made a little crucifix with herself, and there was lightning going on the screens behind her, and the lyrics she sang were, "They're burning all the witches, even if you aren't one." And I love it.
Yeah. There was a part where she was on like a weird diamond snake, right? Am I making that up? Was there a huge snake?
I remember a huge snake. I don't remember diamonds, but I'm not known for my memory.
I feel like it was like a Swarovski Questo diamond
Oh
snake.
My gosh. Wow, what a beautiful SNL skit.
One of my favorites.
Glow and I sometimes just talk to each other in media references. We don't even articulate original thoughts. We just reference things.
No, but we're so funny.
I think we are also very funny.
Yeah.
But I'm a little biased.
Yeah. I might be too, but if we're
might be.
I'm just saying if we're both biased, they might cross cancel each other.
Sure. I don't know math.
Yeah. But during our friendship, I graduated before you.
You did.
In high school, since I'm a year older than the Doge.
You left me behind.
Yeah, I was I ended up going to New York Film Academy at the end of that year. And you also taught a film class.
I did. I taught a film class as a senior in my high school, like alongside a teacher, but I was allowed to design curriculum, select films, create worksheets.
Because she was just watching the same movies every semester. Skydoge had this blog spot where he would review movies that you watched, and the curriculum was the same. So you jumped in and decided, let's zest it up a little bit. Yeah,
like we can only watch Memento so many times to talk about nonlinear storytelling before we go insane, like the man in Memento. So I mixed it up. I put on 500 Days of Summer. I forced some teenage boys to watch a nonlinear rom-com about an independent feminist and a misguided male who thinks he can write a romantic story overriding a woman's agency. And they had to watch it, and I loved it because it's a great film.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen 500 Days of Summer, check it out.
It was your number one for a long time.
Very long time.
Like a real long time.
Yeah. Well, to be fair,
I also don't
in high school, it was hard to see a lot of movies at the beginning of my life because most of them are rated R.
You watched Sex and the City? Or Sex
Much
and
to my
the
parents'
City?
chagrin. Sex and the City, yes. According to this timeline that we're in.
Yeah. In this reality that we're in, Sex and the City. But
my parents were furious.
But no, they let you.
No, like they were really, really mad. Like it was a point of contention. I was 13 at the time. My dad was a fan of the show, but he had seen it syndicated on TBS. So they had edited out all the sex in the city. And so he was not aware that nudity was part of the program. I took out the first season from our local library, an HBO disc, fully uncensored. And
I can't believe the librarian let you.
I've only gotten one comment once whilst taking out I Love You Man, the Paul Rudd film with Jason Segel and Rashida Jones, also rather fun. And she said, "You're allowed to watch this?" And I had already seen it at that point. And I said, "Yes." And then I took it. But yeah, I took Sex and the City. I watched the first episode. I really enjoyed it. My mom found out what it was. She was like, "That's not allowed to happen." And I was like, "But I'm hooked." And this was a point of serious contention. And it was so fucking weird because like I was a 13-year-old child explaining to my parents that they were missing the point, that this was a story about female friendship and that they were seeing titties. And like
You
Little
didn't
did they
see
know I had no
titties.
interest in that.
Yeah.
I saw them, I just didn't really
Yeah.
particularly care for them. And so I wrote them a letter at some point, like a very structured argument as to why their position was wrong. And I won, but it took time.
Yeah. But you did
And my
it.
family is one where, yeah, sometimes you have to do like a written letter of appeal, but you can get something done around here.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I was a big fan of Sex and the City for a long time. 500 Days of Summer. I like a lot of female centric media. I like in high school. I went like nuts for an independent woman. Loved strong independent women. Still do.
Maybe that's
But
why you
now,
were so intrigued by me.
undeniably. But while I still love that, I now am more fascinated by just women devoid of empathy. Just like cold, badass bitches. Your Claire Underwoods, your Villanelles from Killing Eve,
Our
your Selena
Margot.
Myers, Margot from the script that we wrote together.
Yes.
What's her name? And I just finished reading it today. Gone Girl, Amy Dunn.
You're telling me
That's
about
her. I like her. I like
Yeah.
women with no conception of morality.
That new movie that's coming out in theaters. Bo Burnham's in it, and it's the sister seeking revenge, like the drunk guys.
I believe it's called. Maybe is it a Promising Young Woman?
Yes,
Or is that
I'm getting a
different movie?
nod from the studio audience.
Okay, wonderful. It's been corroborated.
Yeah. When did we write our film? Is that the first thing we did together? I also don't remember when I got super into film. I might have. I definitely took the class that you taught in high school. You weren't there, but
Yeah, I didn't teach your class.
I was with a random male teacher at our school. So I definitely must have liked movies in high school, but I don't really remember, because I remember when I first met you is when I haven't seen a lot of stuff, because I've said this and I'll say it again. My parents gave me no flavor. Like my mom didn't have any interests or things. Like my parents worked. They both work. So, and my dad would take me to the movies, but he never showed me movies. My parents never showed me like the things that they liked. So I didn't.
My parents didn't either. It's
how'd
just
that happen?
in my case, it was a case of having fun isn't hard when you have a library card.
Yeah.
Like the Westport Public Library used to have the most amazing selection of DVDs.
Yeah.
They remodeled and threw most of them away. I have questions. I'm curious.
And we have
move
zero
on.
answers.
Yeah, we're gonna move on because the injustice of it all is too much to contemplate.
I
but
agree completely.
Thousands of DVDs are unaccounted for, and
Thousands.
where's the body? But what were we talking about?
We were talking about
how our mutual or individual and then mutual interest in films developed.
Yeah, so I really didn't. I must have not have gotten into film until high school. I was also doing BCN. I've talked about it on the podcast before, how I was working at a TV show.
Yeah,
in my school.
You were a superstar.
I was famous at school. No, just kidding. I wasn't famous, but I was definitely known.
Yeah, you were, and like you would like stay late and piece together that show. Like you were very committed to that.
Yeah, I basically treated it like my own YouTube channel. I was like, all right, so listen, next episode I'm gonna do a completely random segment. I would like sing on the news and make the whole school watch it.
Are you kidding? That's absurd. Because when I went through that class,
you don't remember that?
No, I almost never watched it.
Hot.
I don't remember watching it. I mean, I think it played, but I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But when I was going through the course, I remember getting into a bit of a heated discussion with the teacher because Governor's Ball and Senior Prom had fallen on the same day, and he insisted that wasn't newsworthy, and I insisted that replaying highlights I think it's the entire basketball game on like 4 times speed was not newsworthy. Like if people wanted to see the high school basketball game, they would have gone.
Yeah.
And maybe we should tell them about a conflict that they have with the school event, but it didn't make the show. But they had time for singing.
I tried to let me use the news to ask someone to poinsettia. One of like, what are those dances called when the girl asks?
I
There's
have
like a
no
specific
idea.
name for them.
A sock hop or something? I don't know.
Watch, this is where my Googling skills come in. Ready? Sadie Hawkins. I didn't even really look it up. Sadie
Oh
Hawkins
my goodness,
dance.
that is what it's called. Why now? Why is it called that?
I could give it a Goog really quick. I'll show you.
What? Please say to the
Who
listeners what
is
your search
Sadie
words are.
Hawkins and why is the dance named after? I'll just do who is Sadie Hawkins.
Glow is notorious for being excellent with Google. For the record, I would have gone with the keywords Sadie Hawkins dance etymology.
Oh yeah, that would have been good. Sadie Hawkins Day is an American folk event and pseudo holiday originated by Outcap's classic hillbilly comic strip, Lil Abner. This inspired real world Sadie Hawkins events, the premise of which that women ask men for a date or dancing.
This is a situation where the answer has provoked more questions than it has solved for me.
Yeah, but he wouldn't let me use the TV for asking someone to mistletoe, and I was honestly offended because I filmed and recorded the whole thing, and I was like, okay, it's going in next episode, and he was like, no. He was like, I won't let you use the TV for your personal use. I was like, that's weird because every episode has been that, so why not this one?
I don't know, you'd probably just gotten away with it because it was under the radar.
Yeah, that's true. But film, I forgot exactly. Oh, we were talking about, we ended up writing a screenplay together, but I think definitely 100% you got me more into film than I ever was. And also that tying along with my internship with Meredith that I've talked about relentlessly also on this podcast.
Yes.
And we had Frank on as a
connect
guest.
Me with. Yeah. Love the Post family. Love to the Post family.
Mm-hmm.
Meredith was a wonderful mentor in terms of screenwriting.
Yeah.
She taught
Were you still in high school when that happened?
Yeah, it was my senior year, and like it just became the thing that I did. Like we would stay up like till 2 a.m. on school nights. I was like not doing the school thing.
I said, let's make a movie. Let's write a full movie.
And we full did. Like we storyboarded it.
It was good.
Around 120 pages. It is good. It also will never see the light of day. We both agree on this because
a new version of it could.
Yeah.
I feel like
but in its present form, it's quite awful.
I think it has worse Euphoria vibes. It's like,
yes, it's like going for the edginess of Euphoria, but it falls off the edge.
Yeah, it took a deep dive, and it full Titanic Jack version, not Rose.
Yeah, I'm thinking more of the guy that hits the propeller when he jumps and just does that kind of spin cartwheel.
Yeah, you hear
we were really out there.
You hear his body go.
Boom, yeah.
Yeah, that was our.
That's
film.
my favorite character in Titanic.
But we wrote it, and we even had a full table read for it. Remember?
We did.
We had like
12. We casted a table read.
12 people read our script, and
we did.
I'm pretty sure we got tears.
We did.
We got tears.
And it was for a section that was based entirely on a poem you had written.
No, I got.
Yes.
No, your part got tears. The bed scene.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was the sunflower scene.
Oh, maybe. I forgot I wrote that whole ass poem.
Yeah. It's there. Listen, listeners, dear listeners.
Yeah.
Perhaps one day you will see this film.
There's parts that will definitely stay.
For now, you have no fucking idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. It also never got a full title.
No, we landed on egocentricity, but we were playing around with the word limerence, and I think limerence was the best title that we had in terms of like getting right to the theme of the movie in a single word.
Mm-hmm. And limerence is basically I just looked this up the other day because I was talking about it. But limerence is basically like when you're romantically like obsessed with someone. Like you're just obsessed. and in an
You
unhealthy
don't
way.
have a romantic relationship, but you have
Yeah.
a fixation on them
Yeah.
romantically.
And they probably don't care about you. Like, that's most likely the scenario. I think we didn't use it because there was already a movie called Limerence, and we're like, oh damn. But there's also so many movies with the same title.
No, because we used to, every time we would have an argument about what to call the film, I would say, scrap it, we'll call it Star Wars, because you can name a film anything. You can't trademark the title of the film.
Yeah, we did.
You can
say
just
that
be
a
like
lot.
a shittier version of Star Wars.
Scrap it. I forgot you used to say that all the time.
All the time. Scrap it. We'll call it Star Wars.
Yeah. Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
That's
been a meme
movie.
recently where I saw a meme the other day on Twitter, and it was what's the guy's name in Breaking Bad?
Walter White.
Walter White, yeah. He's looking at his cell phone and he's super shocked, and then the cell phone says, "I know you're Breaking Bad."
That has nothing to do with Superman for the Quest for Peace.
No, the Family Guy.
Okay,
where you say the name
Glow,
of the movie.
You're making like an A to D connection, and you're not spelling out B and C for our dear friends, the listener. So I would do that. One of my favorite. No, it's okay.
I was just so excited.
But we have an inside joke that was written for us by Family Guy writers. There's a cutaway. Peter says, "I love it when they say the name of the movie in the movie." And then it cuts away to Peter sitting in a movie theater audience. And you hear the voice of ostensibly Superman saying, "Well, Lois, to solve this problem, I'm going to have to become Superman 4, The Quest for Peace." And it is one of my favorite jokes in Family Guy, which I don't like a whole bunch anymore. But that joke always makes me laugh. And every time the title of a film is said within the film, we say that to each other. And that is what she's referencing in that meme.
Yeah, but after
this is what our brains look like.
Yeah,
it's just intertextual references.
I talk sometimes and I forget people don't know me enough to know that you have to be able to go to A to D, potentially to
A
J.
to B. No, you got to go to A to B. No, you got to go A, B, C, D.
Yeah, but you know I could go A to D and you could get me.
Yes, but I'm probably not going to be the only one listening to this.
Yeah,
podcast.
No, exactly. So I will start going A to B. I know the alphabet, and I'll prove it to you guys via this podcast.
Goodness. Do it.
But besides movies and the titles,
no, do it. Show me the receipts. A, B. No, I'm kidding.
I rattled off Margot when Skydoge.
Yeah, when I was mentioning women who are devoid of empathy, you threw out the name Margot.
Yeah. She was one of the characters in our film, and she was cutthroat. But after
we
wrote that movie, we also dabbled with television with this TV idea that I had.
We did, and that premise is truly excellent, such that I would not say it on the air.
It really is good, and I hope one day we could bring that into full fruition. That'll be super awesome.
I did a draft of it as a film for a class, but
as did I.
I also don't think it's good.
we always struggled with the premise was always there, but building the characters around it and the life around it was always kind of challenging.
I remember being shocked when like one of the characters is 8 years old and we had her just have the foulest mouth.
Yeah.
And when I was not forced, but like I wrote a scene featuring that character who talks to her mom with the mouth of a sailor. And everyone in the class was like, "We hate this child. We hate them so much. They are a brat. Nobody would should talk to their parents like that." And I was just like, I took the note. I was like, all right, like y'all don't think it's funny when a child curses out their parents. I get it. Whatever. Like,
no big deal, but you're wrong.
Yeah, like I'll edit it, but it's just for the grade.
Yeah, and then did we do that while you were in high school still, or?
I believe that was perhaps when I had moved to college. We had started working on that. We used to have writing sessions over FaceTime.
Oh, you're right, we did.
Many hours.
But we must have started the summer before you went to college.
I think we were developing two ideas at once.
Yeah,
so we started exploring 5-act structure with Frasier as the the holy
Frasier
the
was
show on the pedestal.
yeah.
That's the Bible of 5-story structure we were to study.
Was that because Meredith told us?
Yeah, Meredith was very into Frasier. I don't know if she liked Frasier, but she certainly thinks it embodied and demonstrates
What we
5-act
needed.
structure well. Yeah.
I guess we were writing that while you were in college, but we must have started the summer before.
Yeah,
And
because we had talked with Meredith about it, so I was there.
yeah, so you ended up studying film.
Yeah, I'm technically a major in film and television. Though I sort of fell out of love with it in my sophomore year of college and fell madly in love with politics.
Yeah.
Um, and that was sort of what we discussed as like the overarching theme of the episode, like just the way life pulls you in different directions. The chart you pass and then which gets swept away by the flood called life.
Yeah.
And just like a nice big old middle finger to your face. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
You hear me, dear listener?
You see my finger in your brain? It's the middle one if you need help.
Yes. Have you ever felt that way? Am I producing relatable content? Is this relatable content for relatable teens?
I had on my 10th birthday, I hysterically cried because I was turning double digits and I felt so old. I really thought that was it for me. And
like you were nearing the end?
I just thought I had failed at life already. And then by the time I was in high school, and I definitely struggled to get to the end of that. So I didn't I didn't have an idea, and I knew I wasn't going to a college that wasn't like Norwalk Community College. So I didn't really have any idea of what the future looked like for me. I kind of always had dreams and aspirations like, oh, I would love to go on SNL, or I'd love to make movies, or I love making content and producing things and being creative, but I didn't know exactly what that would lead me towards or if I'd ever actually get to do it. So like trying to figure out what the future was always kind of complicated. Like,
yeah, I'm also a person that has never been able to envision a future for like, I could not picture myself as an adult for the entirety of my childhood and adolescence.
Could not.
This was in part complicated by the fact I was in the closet. So it's like, I picture myself with a wife and I also know that ain't happening type of deal. And so that was hard, but it was also complicated by like things like depression and like not really wanting a future. I didn't really plan, like I had always felt that like I should be happy and yet I was not. But if I wrote down all the things about my life on paper, they're a recipe for a happy child. And yet I'm not. So I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And
there's baking soda in the recipe. You should be using powder.
Yeah, something like that.
Powder, yeah.
But I got stuck in that thought trap for years. But all that stuff, wasn't in the plan. Yeah. It wasn't on the page.
It was definitely something like I liked doing film, and I got my associate's degree for film, but I've definitely passion shift kind of hard into photography as a little before, or maybe at the same time as you transitioned your passion into politics, because we're both still passionate about film. I wouldn't say they aren't things that we'd still love to accomplish. I think we both still would and do it together. I personally have kind of stopped pursuing it. The last thing I did, Skydoge actually acted in my short film for school.
Yeah.
And dare I say, killed it.
Oh my God.
Out of the park. I threw this script at him and basically forced him to like edit all of it. So I guess that in a way, you knew your
reason
lines.
I could remember the lines because I wrote a lot of them.
Yeah.
But not to say we didn't collaborate. It was entirely your story. I just punched it up a little bit.
Yeah, I was under pressure because it was a school project, and that's when I
the
can't
thing that
perform.
I discovered exactly and it made me question whether or not I could pursue a career in film. Like I'm interested in writing films, But when faced with the task of writing films on a deadline for a class, I felt creatively empty. I had nothing. I felt like I was producing garbage.
Yeah, same.
And suddenly I hated what I loved. It made me frustrated, and I felt like I didn't have what it took. And a thing that they always tell you in film school is like, film is a hard industry. So if you're going to do it, do it. Like, it's got to be your dream.
Yeah.
And I realized maybe it's not. And simultaneously, former president, private citizen, and twice impeached man Donald Trump was elected. And
Just became
so that
president.
was like, cold splash of water to my face. And I became obsessed with figuring out how the fuck that happened. And thus, I took a big left turn into poli-sci.
Mm-hmm.
But we can talk more about that. But I, like, to your point, my passion for film certainly still exists, as I know yours did. Because when this administration,
last,
oh my goodness, yeah,
the
we're
Iguana
podcasting
Nation
to you
happened.
we are podcasting from Joe Biden's America. Okay,
welcome.
The radical Antifa left has taken over, and
Joe Biden's America.
Things are still going fine. Yes, we're one day in.
Signed a record amount of executive orders.
Yeah, man, hit the ground running. We truly do love to see it.
We love to see it.
But, what were we talking about? Oh, when the last administration bungled COVID, I couldn't, like,
well, you were into it before, but you came back. You took a break.
Right. I used to consume news all the time. And then once COVID hit, I had to check out because my brain was breaking, and I watched like 75 movies in the month.
But when you got into politics, I knew nothing before you got
I didn't either.
Yeah. But as you learned, you also taught me so much. And I used to go to you anytime I had a question, anytime I didn't really fully understand anything, which was basically all of it. I had no clue. And you were definitely the person who got me interested in it. Before, I didn't watch Stephen Colbert, and I didn't know who he was, and I knew who John Oliver was, but I didn't watch, and I didn't care about politics, or I was never in that world. And so as you learned, you kind of became basically my Google.
Well, I loved when you asked me questions because oftentimes I didn't know the answers, and so I would research them and find out and then tell you. But like, I understand that like finding that answer is really complicated and difficult because it's like hidden under a whole bunch of jargon.
Yeah, and we'd also
about politics.
We'd also spend a lot of our, not all of our time, but we did watch House of Cards together. And
yes, I kind of forced you.
I loved it though, and I probably asked at least 2 questions a minute, and I didn't understand anything about Congress, and I still kind of don't. Skydoge once a week. Dare I say more than that? I'm like, hey, what's Congress? And he'll as he's doing it, I'll remember, but he'll break it into 2. He's like, this is the Senate and this is the House of Representatives, and they're both
It's an easy
Congress.
mistake. I used to do it all the time because like senators and representatives are both called congressmen. They're all, so for the listeners, in case you've also been vexed by this, it's very understandable. Civics is not highlighted in our public schools as much as maybe I want to, but I'm not Secretary of Education yet. I hope
true.
never to be. But
yeah, you would definitely live in Betsy DeVos's shadow for sure.
I know. Who could outdo Betsy?
Who could fill those Louboutins?
I don't know.
Not you.
Certainly not me. I can't walk well in heels. But
I'm being very sarcastic, very, very facetious.
Betsy DeVos is a terrible education
just in case.
secretary.
I don't want anyone to think I actually think she did
and
a good
she's
job.
one of the incredibly principled cabinet secretaries, which resigned after the Capitol insurrection, which, as a Washington Post editorial compared it to, is the headline was, "I resigned from the Death Star as it begins to implode."
She said that?
No, there was an editorial in the Washington Post
okay.
mocking these people as like saying you're basically resigning from the Death Star as it explodes,
Yeah.
and saying it's a matter of principle.
Okay.
No, it was very good. If you want to find it, Google some of the words I mumbled, and you might find it.
Don't you just like fuck yourself over if you quit right before you're about to get fired?
If you want severance, yeah, but the presidency doesn't come with severance pay.
Not Betsy DeVos's seat?
Oh no, Kaepernick could, like, no, you don't get like
so you're not losing
severance
any
pay, and
yeah, you're not losing
no,
anything
it's like
if
a public
quit?
sector job.
Okay.
I don't. No, I mean, he had like 1 week left. I mean, what's she gonna get done?
Also learned that Trump golfed 321 days of his presidency, and I was like, wow, it seemed like a lot more. And you were like, that's a quarter. That's a full year.
Almost a full year of 4 years of governance. So
yeah,
you know, and then you factor in how much was tweeting time, how much was executive time. Listen, I'm not here to talk trash about Douglas Shrimp, but
yeah, I learned a lot of politics through you, basically.
Yeah,
is what we're getting to. Did I mention? We were talking about House of Cards, but we fell off of it. So let me jump back to the House of Cards.
Do it up.
So what, 6 seasons?
Yeah.
So we watched all 6 seasons. I was actually really excited for them because not only is it such a amazing and well-written show, but I probably learned the foundation of my knowledge and interpretation of what politics in Washington is like through that show.
That's a scary thought. That's very scary.
No, of course I knew it was I knew it was dramatized. I know people aren't getting pushed in front of trains. It's just such a cynical depiction of Washington, I know, but
which isn't to say it's wrong.
No, I guess I've seen, if you compare The Bachelor to that show on Hulu, what was that show?
What? Oh, I don't know.
The scripted Bachelor show. We watched it.
We did?
We watched a season of it.
I don't remember this at all.
What Natalie, the woman that we were talking about, how she got married? What's her name? Her and Moshe.
Oh, that's
she's in it, I think, and she
Natasha Leggero.
Yeah, she plays the boss, the head writer.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
I need to Google Bachelor scripted.
Unreal. Okay,
Unreal.
You're thinking of, that's not Natasha Leggero, but it looks a lot like her. It's Constance Zimmer.
Oh, Constance Zimmer. Yeah, you're right.
So I was thinking about okay, so that show is about the producers of The Bachelor.
Yeah, so I knew it was much more intense and dramatized, but I knew that producers on that show were sneaky. Same as when I'm watching House of Cards. I know it's dramatized to be more evil and cutthroat and nasty, but when I'm talking about Frank is the majority whip or whatever,
that's where he starts.
Yeah, I didn't know what a majority whip was, or how voting in the Senate happened, and voting across party lines. I really had no idea, or filibustering, or just really a lot of basic politics stuff I probably learned in civics and didn't absorb. I learned from watching shows with Skylar and because I asked real life questions. We would stop and talk about actual politics.
Yeah, and how things work.
Yeah, so it was an outlet for me to kind of. But I also don't think I'd be able to watch that show without you and absorb as much as I did. It's definitely really important to understand what's going on. It's a good tool if you have someone to teach you as it was Hooked on Phonics basically, but hooked on politics.
We're attempting the same thing now with the show Veep, which is currently my favorite TV show. I love it.
You've probably seen it multiple times, right?
I have probably 5 at least.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think it's funny. And Washington insiders say it is the most realistic depiction of politics.
I think it's so good. Yeah.
It is very fun, very profane. Check it out on HBO.
Yeah, we're on
episode... We're on episode 5?
Yeah, we're on episode 5.
Yeah.
I've tried to watch the first season a bunch of times, but I think we were always doing it separately. Or anytime we
Yeah.
started at your house, I fell asleep.
Yeah, those were the two
Were you
things.
Were you and Jonah watching Veep that time? I-
Yes. Okay. So one time, Jonah and I hooked everyone in my life on Veep one at a time because everyone thought they wouldn't like it. And then they watch it and they started and they're like, I don't like it. And I'm like, yes, you do.
Wait, just
And then
wait.
they continue to watch it and they do, in fact, like it. And so I had hooked my brother and we had a kind of ritual at the time of like ending the night watching a couple episodes of Veep. And Glow was over. It was very late. And we were watching an episode. We were halfway through it. And Glow was not fit to operate a motor vehicle, to put it euphemistically. And she, partway through the episode, just shouts, I don't want to watch Veep. And I'm like, well, we have been for 15 minutes. We've got about 15 minutes left. So I said, well, okay, well, we're going to finish this episode and then we can watch something else. And you're like, okay. And then about 5 seconds pass, and then you go, actually, I'm going to sleep. And then you just roll over on your side into the couch.
Yeah.
Like your face is smothered into the couch and you knock out instantly.
Like knocked
I had
out
never
cold.
seen anything like it. Yeah, just completely sleeping like the dead.
I love that. Oh, that's so funny.
I think I cackled very loudly, and I don't think it even woke you.
Oh
But
my god, that's so funny. I'm definitely like the hardest fish to catch with Veep.
it's a tough
Took you
one.
a
They talk
second.
really fast, like
But it's
and like
so funny. It's so funny.
it is, and it's in the. What's so interesting is like the fact that it's so funny is distracting from the fact that it's also like a very politically consistent show. There's
Yeah.
full serialization. She'll have an agenda in a particular season, and like so I'm trying to like chart those for Glow. I'm like, okay, so like the two things we're trying to get done in season 1 are a clean jobs initiative and filibuster reform in the Senate, which is actually accidentally a thing that is a current issue.
Mm-hmm.
Democrats want to do away with the filibuster in the Senate. Selena Meyer stumbled upon a good position by accident, but
Yeah.
she never does that ever again.
Whoops. I can't wait
She's the
to
perfect
watch all the
Trump
way through.
figure. She's the biggest failure and such a loser, but she's funny as fuck.
She is so
Julie
funny.
Louis-Dreyfus won Best Comedic Actress 5 out of 6 years for that show.
For a
Just
reason.
swept. Just
Also,
swept the Emmys.
what's that? What's the Gary character name?
Tony Hale,
Yes.
that's
Tony
the
Hale.
actor.
Or sorry, Gary actor name. That's how I'd Google that. Gary actor name
also-
Veep.
He's also Buster on Arrested Development.
Yeah, he's my favorite character so far, and probably
Yeah.
will not be taken from his seat. He's
That's
keeping
fair.
that seat.
You have a soft spot for Mike McClintock as well.
Mike is second. Mike,
Yeah,
and
you
then
like Mike.
Yeah, and then I guess
We all
the
agree
Veep.
Dan's
Dan's the worst. Dan could rot. Oh, did
Dan is the worst.
Yeah, he's the worst. Oh no,
Absolute garbage.
yeah. But the reason why we've segued into politics for the latter half of the episode is because, drum roll,
Dubba 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 sound of drums rolling.
whoa! Mr. Skydoge and I are starting our own podcast together on the Six of Hearts website and both streaming platforms on Spotify and podcasting app on
I can
App Store.
confirm that as true, as I am Skydoge, and I certify that as a correct statement. We will be. Oh, they're excited already.
They're waiting. They
Yes.
didn't know until just now, and they're already in line.
Yeah, well, Glow and I have been cooking up a little program called
Mhm.
The Liberal Bubble, and it'll be coming to you very soon.
Super soon.
There'll be nice, short episodes, 30 minutes max is what we're thinking. Conversations about current issues related to progressive agendas
Yeah.
or the progressive agenda, talking about the Biden administration, talking about what's going on, because the fact of the matter is, our generation, we're on the cusp of Generation Z. We're aging into the electorate.
Yeah.
We have, you know, on the whole, rather liberal dispositions. And if we vote and turn out at rates comparable to older age groups, the government will be incredibly responsive to us because it will be
We're
majority.
We're the majority vote.
Yeah, currently the millennials are.
Well, we would
because
be.
most of Gen Z is still under 18.
Yeah.
But given time, us and the millennials will rule the world. And the millennials are the first generation who are not showing any signs of getting more conservative as they age, because any inclination towards turning like really into capitalism and securing your nest egg for retirement was a bit hard for the millennials, as they got fucked leaving college with the 2008 crisis, and then fucked during their peak earning years by the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
So like they never saw all the glorious benefits of capitalism that previous generations have. And so we want to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm also excited because after the inauguration, I feel like there's a tone that's set, and instead of forgetting about the past, I feel like this administration's all about, you know, holding people accountable, and like the past isn't just going to be the past. It's going to attempt to be fixed, which will also be something
but
really...
also unity.
Yeah.
And like those two things will have to be squared.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't think they're mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
The idea that like unity means not having consequences when people do egregious things in public office don't square right with me. It also is a little strange to me to hear calls for unity from people who have said very divisive things up until this point.
Yeah.
But unity is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think talking to each other is a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the Biden administration has a lot of work ahead of them. They've promised a lot of things to a lot of people. They have identified 4 key crises that they want to move on. They hit the ground running with signing 15 executive orders. He's got a $1.8 trillion stimulus package that he has proposed to Congress with all sorts of different stuff in it. Like, they came correct. They're ready to play, and they want to get stuff done. Mm-hmm. And the Senate will be conducting a trial of Donald Trump in the coming weeks. So like both of those things are going to happen, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, and I feel my perspective will kind of be for the audience member who could more relate to me, who doesn't really have like sources. I guess now that we've been friends for so long, I can kind of navigate a little bit by myself, but I definitely still use...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You've learned a ton about politics.
Yeah, but I also, in my experience has always been like pretty clueless. So I'd like to be kind of the viewer in a sense of asking you questions I would like the answer to, and have a better explanation of what's going on, because sometimes trying to read an article and digest information is really hard, and it's cool to have a friend that understands things and knows how your brain works and can explain them to you in a way that you can understand but also be curious about at the same time.
Yeah, and like I'm excited because, as I mentioned before, you're going to ask me questions that I won't know the answer to.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what's important to me with this podcast is demonstrating that process, that like
it's okay.
You don't ever wake up learning stuff. Yeah, sometimes or every time you start by not knowing a thing, and then you learn it, and you keep doing that cumulatively until you have an understanding of how things generally function. And that's a difficult process. But one of the things that keeps people away from voting, particularly young people, is what political scientists call efficacy. This idea that like they can make a difference in the system, that their vote matters, that like their participation will make any difference. And it's hard to feel that way if you don't know what's going on, and it's hard to feel that way if what's going on has no relation to you.
Yeah. And it's even hard to find it when it does have relation to you.
It is, because like, you know, you like the thing that comes out of the like news of this big stimulus plan that Biden has proposed is these direct checks to Americans, right? $1,400 to bring the total for the year up to $2,000, which was promised in the Georgia Senate runoff races. But that is like one component of an incredibly robust piece of legislation, which is not going to be passed in its current form. But like, it's hard for the White House to get their message out to reporters, let alone reporters get that message to news consumers. It's like we're playing a game of fucking telephone. It's tricky.
I mean, now we'll have daily press conferences again, so maybe.
Yes, I just watched the first one. It was so lovely to have an adult answer questions in a respectful way. I'm interested to see how this goes. It's not going to be perfect. We're going to have tons of gripes with the administration. We'll complain as liberals do. We love it. We won't stop.
Yeah.
Can't stop, won't stop. But we're going to be in the bubble. We're going to try to pop the bubble. We're mostly going to be sitting in a bathtub.
And that's today's episode.
That's it.
And that's all they wrote. I don't actually know where that's from.
That's all they wrote?
That's all she wrote. I forget what it's from.
Yeah, I don't know either. Google that's all she wrote etymology.
Well, thanks so much, Mr. Doge, for coming on to the podcast. We didn't talk about Canadian at all, which I can't believe we just did not glaze over, but that means you'll just have to come on the podcast. You'll have to come in the podcast again. I'm able to talk a lot about Canadian on the Liberal Booble.
I would love to. Thank you for having me.
On the team, thanks so much. With Mossy Claire, off your loosening, she probably won't. She doesn't listen.
I'm good. I love you, Claire.
Love you,
and
Claire.
And for listeners that says Claire, oh my God, I love you, Claire. This little subtitle for you.